Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It is Memorial Day 2025. This is your girl, Shay Hope, also known as the Hope Strategist. What's everyone doing today? What's everyone doing? I know most people are off of work. People are at home. A lot of kiddies are out of school now. I know in Georgia, school is over, at least in Atlanta. Certain parts in the South, probably all over the country. I don't know. Definitely down South. A lot of people are out of school right now. Hi, for those of you just joining. Hey, I've had my God morning. I'm still having my God morning, and I just wanted to get on here and share with you. So for those of you who are on social media already, who are getting your day started, let's talk, you guys. Let's talk. Let it all work out. So this morning I started my morning like I typically do every morning. I get up and I get in my word. The word for me is the Bible. I get out my Bible and I just go to wherever my heart leads me, like wherever the Spirit leads me. I just, randomly, in my mind, randomly pick a Bible, a chapter in the Bible or whatever, but I don't think it's random at all. I think because I'm intentional about asking God to lead me to where I need to focus on that particular moment, Spirit leads me to what it is that I need to be listening to. And this morning it took me to Psalms, and Psalms 3 to be exact. But and then I do my own little meditation, right? So I start my own little meditation where it's just me and God, and I check in with how I'm feeling, Like, don't be afraid to admit what's going on with you today. Hi, for those of you just joining, don't be afraid to tap in and really find out how you're feeling. You know what I mean? Like, are you happy? Are you upset? Are you fearful about something? Are you like, what are you thinking about, right? Like, tap into that. I really do tap into that. And, people are having a challenging time right now. Like, there's a lot of us that are going through a lot of stuff. Hi, Mrs. Emily Crypto. God morning. God morning. How are you doing, Queen? This year did not start out the way I anticipated. Anybody else going through that? Anybody else feel like you had a vision for 2025? Like, you had your goals set, you had, maybe you already crafted your vision board for the year 2025, and it just got derailed, right? So my 2025 definitely got derailed. My son, his name is Anthony, and anyone that knows me knows my son is the light of my life, like my world. And unfortunately, tragically, he passed away January 28th of this year. And it rocked me to my core. If I'm being honest, which I am, it still rocks me. It still rocks me to this day. I don't know that, for those of you who've ever lost a child, you definitely, never can get over that. That's not something you can ever, you can't pray that pain away. You can't, go to therapy enough to take that pain away. You can't party enough to take that pain away. You can't drink enough to take that pain. Like, there's nothing you can do to take that pain away. It is with you forever. And it changes who you are. Quite honestly, it changes who you are. And for me, I can honestly say that, it is taking a strength in me that I didn't know that I had. It's also taking a level of oh, what's the right word? I can't, it's taken a level of maturity, I guess, for lack of a better word, like a level of maturity that's unlike anything I could, I could imagine. And, for me, like I know parents who have lost children, right? There are people, close to me who I know who have lost a child. There are people within a community that I'm a part of that have lost a child. There are people who I've comforted, who I have mentored, who I have, just been there for, right? Hi, for those of you just joining. Hey, big bro. So, I didn't know what it was like, but I definitely had a level of, empathy, and concern and love for parents who I knew had gone through that personally, right? And no parent wants to think about it. No parent ever, wants to even relate to it. But, unfortunately, it is something that happens. It is something that has happened to some of us. And, no one can tell you how to grieve. No one can tell you, how you're supposed to respond, how you're supposed to act, what you're supposed to do, what it's supposed to look like. I think that's one of the things that whenever I hear, I kind of cringe inside when people say, oh, well, you definitely don't look like what you've been through. Well, what am I supposed to look like? How am I supposed to look? I don't think there's any supposed to look to a parent grieving a child. No one can tell you how it's supposed to look. Everyone's journey is different. So, this morning I was, meditating with the community that I'm a part of. So, for anyone going through something, any type of pain, any type of trauma, anything that you're dealing with, please don't do it by yourself. You know what I mean? There's a difference between, having moments of solitude and totally isolating yourself from everyone and everything. That's where the danger lies. When you isolate yourself and, you don't talk to anyone, you just stay in, to yourself all the time. You don't go out anymore. You don't get around other people. You just stay at home, or just, home and work, and that's it. Or home and school. Like, that's a dangerous place to be, because, you're not in the right environment. Right? You're not in the right environment. And you've got to be able to listen to God, not just, at home by yourself, or, in your own cocoon, but you've got to be able to listen to God through your environment, through other people, through nature. Like, you have to get out there. So, I'm part of a community. It's called Girl Hold My Hand. And I've been a part of that community since 2022. And I'm thankful because, I met, some people in that community who had lost children. And I honestly believe that had I not met these people, had I not been a part of this community, my walk would have been totally different. This journey would have been totally different for me. I don't know that I would have been able to get through it the way that I am. I'd like to believe that because I am who I am, because God has instilled in me something that nobody else has, I'd like to believe that I would have been able to get through it, but I definitely think it would have been different. I just don't know. Like, I thank God for preserving my mind, because quite honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm going to lose it. Let me just be clear. There are days that I just don't know. I just don't know. When people ask, like, well, how are you doing? I don't know. I don't know how to tell you how I'm doing some days. So, that's not a question that I can honestly that I can honestly answer. I don't know any day that I can answer. You know what I mean? I struggle when people say to me, how are you doing? I struggle with that because when I really think about how I'm doing, I be like, yo, I'm just processing one day at a time. I think that's like my standard answer, like one day at a time, because it really is one day at a time. And it's a faith walk, you guys. It's a faith walk. It is seriously a faith walk. And you know, some days I'm like, some days I'm up and I'm moving and I'm, you know, constantly doing. And then other days I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to see anyone. And that's okay. Like, I'm here to tell y'all right now, seriously, it's okay to have those days. Like, don't let it happen, you know, for like weeks straight, months straight. But, you know, it's okay to have those days where you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to see anyone. The journey is full of different emotions. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, you know, one minute you're smiling and you're laughing, you know, in the next minute, something can happen, something can be said, or a thought runs across your mind and it can take your breath away and you just get quiet. You know what I mean? Or you have to, like, you know, you might have to excuse yourself. You might have to leave out of an event or out of a gathering. One minute you might think you're okay to go to something, you know, like you're like, okay, yeah, you know, my friends are having, you know, a get together and blah, blah, blah. And you think you're good to go, right? And then, you know, that day comes, or that the time comes to go, and it's no longer like, you no longer feel like that. You no longer feel that way. And I'm here to say, like, that's perfectly okay, because the people who rock with you, the people who love you, family, friends, whatever, like, they'll understand. They'll understand that they need to give you your space. And I don't care how long it's been. I don't care if it happened last month. I don't care if it happened, you know, last year. I don't care if it happened last week. I don't care if it happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. Like, you are, they better understand. If they don't understand, you need to evaluate, you know, who you let close to you. Good morning, Sean. Good morning. God morning, Queen. So, you know, and I'm thankful for the people truly who love me and have my back, that they are understanding that, you know, this is a journey for me. And they're just kind of, you know, letting me let them know, you know, what I need or how I need it, or, you know, and not taking it personal, when, you know, not taking it personal when I'm not around as much, or I'm not, you know, communicating as often as I did, or I'm not, you know, going to gatherings, or wanting to be around people. Sometimes I just, you know, I may need to just be to myself, or I may need to just be with one particular person, or I may just to be in a particular environment. Like, you know, there's no manual. There's no manual to this. Just like they say, there's no manual on raising kids. Well, there's no manual to grief. I don't think anyone could ever tell you how you're supposed to grieve. So this morning within the community, we got some, you know, we got some nuggets from our mentor, Coach Stormy Wellington, also Dr. Stormy Nicole Wellington. Put some respect on her name. And she gave us some nuggets for, you know, like 5 ways to be ready. Right. And so I wanted to share that with y'all today, but I definitely wanted to come on here and just talk to people, just, you know, letting you know, like, everything is going to work out. It's all going to work out. You know what I mean? Like, don't think, number one, don't think that you have to have it all figured out right now, because that is a dangerous place for a person to be. If a person tells me like they got life all figured out and they don't have to learn from anybody and they don't have to listen to anyone, I want to stay far away from that person as possible, because there's no one that's got it all figured out, baby. If you had it all figured out, you wouldn't need to be here. You definitely wouldn't need to, you wouldn't need God, right? So 5 ways to be ready. Number 1, master your now. Like, master where you are right now. When I was talking about having a God morning, that's really taking time for myself, taking time, with me and God. God and I are in a partnership. I need God and God needs me. Like, God needs to know that I believe in him. I trust him, that I'm going to come to him with all my problems. I'm going to come to him with all my concerns. I'm going to, celebrate him also. Like, I don't just talk to God when I'm going through a hard time. You know what I mean? Like, I knew God long before January 28th, 2025. I knew God long before, and thank God I did. My son knew God, and, and I'm grateful for that. But master your now, like, master your relationship with God now, master who you are right now, accept who you are right now and where you are. Like, acknowledge that. Okay. That's okay. That's okay to say, okay, this is where I am right now. And this is what I need to be doing right now in this moment. Master that. Okay. And if it's not where you see yourself, like, if you know there's a calling on your life and you are supposed to have more, do more, be more, well, then, hey, you got work to do. And how do you do that? Number 2, audit your circle. This is real, you guys. I definitely believe that we have to constantly look at the environment that we're in, the people who are around us, the people who we allow to be close to us, the people who we listen to. What are we listening to? What kind of conversations are we having? And if we are around people who are not, talking about faith and leveling up and money and good health and prosperity and happiness, and like, if we're around people who are constantly talking about, politics and the state of the world is going down, and this person's sleeping with that person, and reality TV, and oh my gosh, did you see what happened on, with the trial, and I can't be around people that are talking about that all the time. Like, that can't be the only conversations that we have. Like, let's talk about uplifting stuff. Let's talk about positivity. Let's talk about, getting out here and doing something different. If you don't like the way, this country is ran as far as, do you vote? Do you vote in all elections? I'm not talking about just the presidential election. Do you vote at the local level? Are you aware of who the governor is of your state? Do you vote in those elections? Are you aware of who's your, school county commissioner in the county that you live in? Are you aware of who the local officials are in your city and in your county? Are you aware of who's on the school board? Like, are you aware of all that? Are you just sending your children to school and trusting that the teachers are teaching them what they're supposed to know? Or are you actively involved in what is being taught to your child? Are you going to the PTA meetings? Are you know what I mean? Like, are you asking questions? And I mean, I know some people are like, okay, well, I can't, I can't go to the PTA meetings because, I might be working during those hours, or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. Okay, well, you also can't complain. And quite honestly, there's a way to be active for everyone. I will tell you, when my son was in school, I was, and this was, prior to, we didn't have social media and all of that. And, but I was actively involved. I worked full time, and I was actually going to school at the time when he was younger as well. Cause I was a young mom, but, I was in college while, he was in elementary school. And because I took a break. So long story, but needless to say, I got my college degree. Okay, that's the point. All right. So yeah, there we go. I got my college degree. Sometimes you have to sit back and take a break and realign and refocus and go back. Okay, but that's another day, another story. Anywho, when I was working and going to school, yeah, I wasn't always able to be at, PTA meetings or whatever. But let me tell you something. I kept in constant contact with his teacher, all right? And she knew I was an active mom. I had questions. I made sure that, when he and I went over his homework, if it was something that I didn't even understand, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not clear to me, it's not clear to him. Okay, well, let me talk with the teacher and find out what's going on. Like it was a partnership, you guys. Well, the same is true, I feel like, for, when it comes to, our local governments and all that, like we need to be aware. We need to be aware of what's going on. And, hopping on the blogs, the gossip blogs, and, watching, the reality TV, like, please believe they're getting their coins. They're getting their money. All right. They living out their dreams. Their dreams is to make money and have people watching them. Well, they're doing it. What are we doing? What are we doing? If we say that we want more, we want, the best schools for our kids. We want to be able to, eat healthy foods. We want to be able to afford the home of our dreams. We want to be able to afford, a nice vehicle. And if we want to be able to afford all of these things, what are we doing to get all of these things? Because there are people out here who have those things and they're not on a sports team. They're not singing and dancing. They're not entertaining people. Okay. They are out here getting it. There's so many different ways to get money, and there's so much money out there for all of us, but we have to be aware. We have to audit our circles. We have to get around the people who are successful and making money the right way, right? Get into these rooms, get into these environments, and, and find out what it is that you need to do in order to get there. All right. So get around power circles. I like that. That's what Coach Stormy says. Get around power circles. Number 3, strengthen your spiritual game. Hi, for those of you just joining. Okay, so these are 5 ways to get ready, you guys. 5 ways to get ready for your next level. 5 ways to get ready for the life of your dreams. 5 ways to put yourself in a position to have what you want. 5 ways to work it all out, because it will all work out, but you have to be intentional. So number 3 is strengthen your spiritual game. If God ain't talking to you, how are you going to hear? And this is what I meant by having, a God morning. Like we have to make sure that the largest voice we hear is the one that is of faith, truth, and life. For me, that's my higher power. For me, that's God the Father, Jesus Christ the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Like that is who I want to be speaking to me more than anybody, more than, more than, my parents, more than my friends, more than my sisters, my brothers, anyone, more than anyone. I want God's voice to be louder, because I know truly, truly, truly that God has my best interest at heart. Okay. I know truly, truly that we are all made in the image and likeness of God, right? I know that truly, there's God the Father, and then inside of me, we are all many gods. We are all little gods, because God is inside of us, right? So that little God inside of us has to be able to partner with God the Father. All right. So that's number 3. Number 4, be a product of the product. Live it or it dies. I like this. Like, for anyone who's in business for themselves, or for anyone who, goes, promotes themselves as a brand or what have you, like, you have to be a product of the product. Like, for me, getting on here and talking to you about letting it all work out, and, you know, I'm the Hope Strategist. Well, for me, the Hope Strategist, the reason why I really like that brand moniker is because I honestly talk about strategies for living, strategies for being your best self. Why? Because that's what I needed. For years, I was trying to figure out how to become the best person, how to become the best version of Shay, how to get to that place in life where I was able to, inspire other people. Like, I'm one of those people that really like sees the good in everything, right? There are things that happen and it's beyond our control, right? But I'm always going to be like, I'm never, ever, ever, ever just going to be like, fuck it, the world is, the world is coming to an end. Like, I don't think like that. And I'm thankful that I don't. Like, I honestly believe when people tell me, well, how Shay, like, with certain things that you've gone through, like, how do you not have this, bitter, horrible, outlook about life? How do you not hate certain people? How do you not? And I'm just like, it's just not in me. It's not in me. And I thank God for that. Like, I thank God that it's not in me to hate anyone. Like, hate is something that, will control you and eat away at you. And I think there's like just so much love and hope in me. You know what I mean? My last name is Hope. I can't help it. So there's so much hope and love in me that, I don't hate anyone. You know what I mean? I can remove a person from my life. I can separate myself from things and people. And I won't hate them. I just don't bother to be in that environment anymore. I don't allow certain access to me anymore. And I think that I'm so above, I'll say this, I'm so above belittling myself, if that makes sense. Yeah. I'm so like, I feel like I used to, and I wasn't always that way. Okay. Because there was a point in my life where, I didn't think that highly of myself. You know what I mean? I had major insecurities. I had, major fear of how people saw me and how I was going to do things. Like, there were a lot of things I had to work on. I had to work, and baby, it is work. Working on yourself is one of the hardest things you will ever do, because if you have, been a certain way your entire life, or you've dealt with, or not even dealt with trauma, but you've had trauma occur and you haven't, worked on yourself to get through and past and over that trauma, honey, yeah, it's work. It's work. Especially if things happen to you as a child and now you're an adult. And so now you have to deal with that. So, being a product of the product to me is being really truthful about who you are, like letting your authenticity show. You know what I mean? Like, people say fake it till you make it. I prefer the faith it till you make it. I don't like to be fake. That's just not me. Like, if I rock with a person, they know I rock with them. If I don't rock with a person, they know I don't rock with them. If I like to do something, everyone knows I like to do it. And if I don't want to do it, I don't do it. If I tell you that, I'm starting a business, or I'm legitimately starting that business, and I'm not going to come on here and tell you that I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars if I'm not making hundreds of thousands of dollars. If I'm just starting out, I'll tell you, yo, I'm just starting out. If I'm building a team, I'll tell you, yo, I'm building a team. I'm not going to come on here and say, oh, I've got hundreds of thousands. I've got so many people on my team and blah, until I have so many people on my team. And then I'll tell you. And I think that's where a lot of people get caught up is, they want to come on social media and portray themselves as, this multi-millionaire, super duper influencer. Oh, I've got all this money. I've got all these people, I'm doing all this. And they think that's the way to build, and it's not. Like, people need to see from the grassroots. People need to see from the ground up, don't confuse people, if you're attempting to build a brand or build a business, promote your business, promote a product, you have a product or service that you definitely know that the masses need, like, talk about it, be about it. People should definitely come to your, page and be able to see that. But if they see that one day you're promoting this business, next week you're promoting that business, the following month you're promoting a different business, like, people are going to be like, okay, well, what are they doing? Like, what is it that they do? And they'll get confused. And confused people do nothing. And it's hard to follow behind confusion, right? Like, it's hard to say, okay, well, I want to do business with this person, because it's like, you're like, well, what is it exactly that this person does? I don't know. So for me, I want people to know, as the Hope Strategist, my biggest thing is living your best life, like intentionally living your best life and putting you and your family in a position where, y'all can have generational wealth. You can empower one another. You can love one another. You can help one another. You can sow seeds. So, financial literacy is something that's really important to me, because I believe that, honestly, like, we need money in order to do a lot of the things that we want to do. Let's just be clear. When people say money isn't important or money isn't all that, money ranks right up there with oxygen, right? You need it in order to be able to breathe a little better. Money dictates the type of food that you eat. Money dictates where you live, the type of car that you drive, the type of clothes that you wear. Money dictates your zip code. Like, money dictates, where your kids might go to school. Okay. Like, if you want a better education for your kids and the school system that you're currently in is not the best, well, you need money in order to be able to put your kids in a different school system. Right. Money is definitely important, and I don't think we should shy away from talking about money. Sometimes people not talking about money, not communicating about money is what severs relationships. All right. It's what can put people in stress inside their body. And then that can lead to physical ailments. I honestly believe a lot of the diseases and sicknesses that people have is because of things that they're not talking about, that they're keeping bottled up, and it manifests into a physical sickness and disease. All right. So be a product of the product, live it or it dies. If y'all look on my page here on Instagram at ShayHope_, and Shay is spelled with SHAY, you'll see a lot of the things that I have that I promote about business, about finances. Also, I have another Instagram page at the Hope Strategist 2019. I think that's when I started that particular IG business page, but you'll definitely see things on there about my business, about family. So be a product of the product and make it be very clear, like, what you're doing. And then number 5, practice speed and boldness. Money loves speed. Be bold as hell, ready to say yes. Like, when people say to me, well, let me think about that, it's either one of two things. Either number one, you didn't explain it to them right, okay? Or number two, they're scared. And, they're just, period. So here's what I want to see, to number one, if it's not explained right, you got to figure out how to deliver it in a way that, there's no confusion in mind. You know what I mean? It's very clear. It's very direct. Even a first grader could understand what's being said, right? And then to number two, to the second point about them being afraid, yeah, we all have fear. Do it anyway. If you listen to any wealthy, successful person tell you about their journey, I don't know any wealthy person that can tell you that their entire journey, everything they did with complete certainty and, no questions asked. Everybody has fear about things, okay? If it doesn't scare you, it's not bold enough, it's not audacious enough, it's not growth oriented, okay? So we've got to be bold about things. We're supposed to do things that scare us, that challenge us. That's how we know we're going in the right path. We're on the right direction, right? So those are the 5 ways. I'll repeat them again very quickly. 5 ways to get ready for your next level. 5 ways to get to where you're supposed to be. 5 ways to stay in position to win every day. Number 1, master your now. Number 2, audit your circle. Make sure you get around power circles. Number 3, strengthen your spiritual game. Number 4, be a product of the product. And number 5, practice speed and boldness. So I hope this helps. You guys, if you are not part of a community, or if you are looking for a community of like-minded people who elevate you, who you can help elevate, definitely go to the link tree in my bio and click on Girl Hold My Hand community. That is a community that I am a part of. I am actually one of the generals for that community. Our visionary, Dr. Stormy Nicole Wellington, is a phenomenal, amazing young woman, and I feel like she's just getting started, right? She's been in the game for a long time, but I feel like she's just getting started. So definitely go to the link tree in my bio and click on Girl Hold My Hand community so you can join today. We are leveling up in ways that is going to amaze everybody. Trust me on this. And then if you are looking for an opportunity, if you've been asking God for, a place where you can honestly just, flourish and do something for yourself, your family, come and take a look at what I'm doing. Partner with me in business. Go to the link tree in my bio where it says, I'm looking for qualified partners. Let's talk. Send me a DM. Let's connect. Let's move today. All right? Because there's no place, there's no time like today. Money loves speed and boldness. All right? So practice speed and boldness. All right, guys. Have a beautiful Memorial Day. Mwah. Blessings and abundance.